I'd like to introduce you to Tim. He was president of Young Democrats. I met him 11 years ago. He's one of my many great lawyers. I know, I'm sorry, Tim. You're not the only one. Anyway, meet Tim Brennan.
Hi, everyone. Can I see a show of hands of who here is from the 143rd? All right, thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for Bonnie for putting this together. Thank you for the candidates for giving such a big part of themselves for our democracy. You know, this is a difficult district. It's 45% Republican, 20% Independent, 35% Democrat. We haven't won this race. We haven't won this seat since 1977, the year I was born.
Wow.
You know, I feel that I'm uniquely set up to win this district. I'm a past president of the Pennsylvania Young Democrats. I've built a network, a statewide network that we will call in to get the resources that we need to win this race. We have had good candidates before that couldn't do that, and I'm going to be able to do that. I've been in this race for 6 weeks. We've raised $40,000. We have $40,000 on hand. We have $10,000 that we're expecting to come in. We've gotten the most signatures for of anyone running in this race, Republican or Democrat, and we also we've also we've done well on the petitions, and we've done well on fundraising as well. You know, I grew up in a small town. I grew up in a coal town. I saw what 150 years of you know, top-down policies did to an economy, to the environment, and to working families. Every day I walked to school, to the bus stop, over a dead orange creek because people didn't think of the future and people didn't think of the environment. Early on, I decided I wanted to do something about it. It's a cautionary tale for Bucks County. We have incredible environmental resources. We have incredible human resources. We need to continue to build our infrastructure. We need to continue to work to promote those human resources and quality of life. Excuse me. We need a progressive society. We need to do that for our kids and for ourselves. I've worked for 30 years at progressive causes. I started off at 10 years old. I worked the Dukakis race because I was concerned about the Willie Horton ad. I thought it was a dog whistle to the worst of humanity, and I went out and I knocked doors at 10 years old, and I worked polls. I went to college and I did 2 congressional internships, did constituent services. I worked to become president of the Pennsylvania Young Democrats. I spent my 20s and 30s, you know, organizing young people, you know, knocking on doors, making phone calls, in conference calls, and trying to organize the state for progressive candidates. I've went to law school. I drafted a proposed amendment to the Pennsylvania Constitution to address partisan gerrymandering before anyone was talking about partisan gerrymandering. I lobbied it to the Pennsylvania State Legislature, and they told me it was too fair. You know, and today in the news we hear that Republicans are making moves to impeach our justices. There's constant attacks on our democratic processes. I'm a lawyer. I represent injured workers. I see families at some of their most hard times. I know the suffering that people are going through. I see the problems. I see the weaknesses. I see where the social network falls through. I've done pro bono work for the LGBTQ community. I've done pro bono work for struggling homeowners trying to keep their houses. And I've done pro bono work for young people trying to get on the ballot and stay on the ballot. I've also done work for police and religious organizations as well. As I'm an elected official. I've had my name on the ballot. I've won a difficult race. The second ward is the most difficult ward for Democrats in Doylestown. I've won that race. I've gone toe-to-toe with Joe Flood, who's going to be the Republican nominee, and I've passed responsible budgets, and I've had a progressive agenda. We passed a ban on gay conversion therapy in Doylestown, and I have often said that I wish I can go back in time and vote for our wonderful non-discrimination ordinance. I'm running because we need to change. We need to change the values that are being laid out in Harrisburg. We need to value the environment. We need to have ethics reform. We need citizens first ethics reforms. We need to have common sense gun reform, and we need to build our infrastructure and work with our kids. I hope you consider voting for me, and I hope you consider supporting me for the 143rd.